Newton, the way you spin that story round. Always sharp, just like a tack when you're tracking the price of the dollar and pound. But drop the narrative, that thing that you inherited. Your history, homo's chariot just pulled up outside. Scott, William, Patrick on the scene, they're breaking up the subroutine. Something's crackling in your brain, MK Ultra make you go insane. Hey, don't you know we're only on the case for a good time, baby? Took a rose pill, now I'm reading these books for a long time, baby. Honey pots and psyop traps, you can trust the plan until you snap. Slop conspiracy everywhere. History, homos, clear the air. Close your eyes, what's truth or lie? Hiding in the space between. Reality's a tangled scene. Tune in, you'll know what I mean. Close your eyes, what's truth or lie? Hiding in the space between. Reality's a tangled scene. Tune in, you'll know what I mean. Hey, history, homos only on the case for a good time, baby. Took a roach pill, now I'm reading these books for a long time, baby.
And we're live. Welcome back to the show. Back to regular programming here. Patrick and I this week are going to be discussing, I don't have what year it is, but we're discussing the novel Flow My Tears, The Policeman Said by Philip K. Dick, as usual, henceforth referred to as PKD, because we're not going to say any other combination of those words.
Why not? Why how, brown cow? He was never great with titles. He's not
I
a
agree with
titles
that.
guy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
How now,
Yeah.
brown cow? Flow my
it is one of those
tears.
books, one of those are pieces of fiction, I guess, where like the title is like actually spoken aloud in the actual piece of fiction, such
They
as
say the
"Die,
thing.
Die, My Darling." And the publication is 1974. And I actually read the first time I read this book was I want to say maybe like 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah, that's about right. And I actually took it out of the Stoughton Public Library. And that, which is why, by the way, now I normally when we do a book review, I usually hold the book up, and especially if it's something I've read before. And I obviously cannot do that now because it is this. But if you want to go to the Stoughton Public Library and take out the copy of "Flow My Tears," a Policeman Said, which was a first edition, mind you, you will be reading the same version of the book that I read.
Steal and sell it. Steal and sell it. I mean, honestly, no, we're reporting to you live from the year 2026 where all PKD novels have been confiscated for being way too uh
Based.
frankly, this guy is
He's
I would shut
switched
him
on,
down.
man.
I would shut him down. Like,
Yeah, well, I don't think it took. Yeah, I don't think people realize just how prescient this shit was at the time.
like Phil, you're gonna get us in trouble. You're gonna get laser beams shot into our brains, dude, and it's gonna be our own fault. Um, this guy, oh man, you can see like I love how a lot of his novels you can see where the nascent idea where it began is, you know.
Sure.
I think this one is the XR XK oh shit, I forgot already. The drug,
Yeah, it's
the
like
MacGuffin.
KR4 or something.
I'll pull it up. But I think that might have been the inception for this.
I think you're right about that because that's like the obviously the big sci-fi twist of the or like the fantastical almost twist of the novel.
Hmm.
But we'll get to that stuff later, obviously. So okay, the first thing I want to say this is even when we explain it, it's going to sound extremely odd because that is just the nature of this book. And I would say that the best way to describe this book is actually like a taxonomy of how to like lose your mind.
Oh, dude, yeah, sure. Yeah, this is I was thinking about this earlier, just the book, there's very little it's not so much action packed by any means, but it is so um
Tense.
yeah, perfect. Yeah. The situations that this guy is finding himself in, we none of us really are that it's nothing that crazy. It feels like a Twilight Zone episode where
Yeah.
just this minor tweak in reality or this someone's misalignment with reality is so minor, yet it creates huge ripple effects. And you could see this. We could all put ourselves in this place, and see
Right.
how it's like a Christmas. What's a Dickens thing? It's like
Christmas, yeah, Christmas Carol, yeah.
it's like if you put Jimmy Fallon, but he had like he was even more I don't know.
Insipid.
If you mix Tom Jones with Jimmy Fallon,
Yeah.
you have a little more swagger, but also insufferable.
Sure, yeah.
And
Well,
then
okay,
yeah.
so let's describe the world that it inhabits. So the world that it inhabits is it's a alternate future or alternate history, I guess, 1988. And it takes place from October 11th to October 13th. I don't know if there was any significance anyone can glean from that. Maybe you can email me about it. But he just mentions very briefly at the beginning of the first line of the entire book is the episode of the Jason Taverner show, which is the name of the protagonist of the book, ran short on October 11th. It's the first line of the book, and it takes place in an alternate history in which Nixon has ascended to godhood as the second coming of Christ. And there's had been second American Civil War, and there's a total police surveillance state that is administered by the police and the National Guards, and which is obviously a reference to the Kent State shooting.
Oh, dude, this
Clearly leaps off the page at you. Um, and of
yeah.
course, this was written in 1974 ish, so it's very much baked into the genuine paranoia that was going on, and also remember what else was going on at this time. This was right in the wake of Manson and the revelations about COINTELPRO Obviously MK Ultra
Church.
is, well, I don't think it was quite revealed, but there was rumors. And remember who Philip K. Dick is? He was in the like tech and drug scene at the time, so I imagine he was pretty plugged into what was going on with that.
Not to mention, I mean, he'd already been writing for quite a while. This is, I don't even know what novel this would be.
He'd been writing since the 50s professionally. Yeah.
Uh, I wonder how long he'd been sitting on this idea, and he found that because the way that students are, like how you say, the academic class are treated
Hmm.
in this book are like I don't know, like a pariah class or like some kind of
Well, this is keep in mind what this is the 1970s, so this is like
yeah,
during those Days of Rage. Remember that book we talked about?
yeah.
Me and William did an episode on. And so there was like this COINTELPRO driven like propaganda sort of campaign that like kids were radical now, man, and they were going to be bombing the city near you. And it was all spook shit, genuinely, honestly, at the end of the day, and a manufactured sort of gladio thing that was going on. And also, by the way, all the people who were doing it were Jewish, by the way, we're mentioning it, and they're all welcome in society today. Nobody even really served any time over it. Um,
What about
and
that? What about
yes,
that? Not Jewish but black. What's her name? Something. Uh,
Tupac's mom.
no, but similar trajectory where she was part of the Weather Underground. I think she actually was involved in it. Now she's just like a big black lady on the internet and in the state house or some shit.
Oh,
Her
that
name's
makes
escaped.
sense.
I'm thankfully not Fox News brained and enough to have these people
Is
rattling
it
around in
Joy
my head.
Reid by any chance?
Is it? Is she old as shit?
Yeah, she's pretty old, but whatever. Who
No,
gives a fuck? But my point being is that so this was
could have
kind of
looked
a
that old.
psyop. So I think Dick is kind of bit that one. He bit onto that psyop, I think, a little bit, but that's okay because it's a piece of fiction that's representative of the time that it took place, that it was written in, and that's just fine for me because it's also filled with so much prescient shit in it. It's unbelievable. So I mentioned before there's a dystopian sort of police surveillance police state panopticon kind of thing, and it's extremely tech oriented. It's worth mentioning. And yeah, it is like the government administering it. Obviously, the differences between today's society and this is that it's the actual government itself in the book, and in our society it's literally tech companies which are in bed with the government. um and and also, I mean, they have their own different varied special interests, some of which are ethnic in origin and others are fiscal. um and But
Others
regardless, the
are
point is, in
interest.
effect it's the same, is that everybody in the fictional world of Flow My Tears, Policeman Said, are scrutinized, and all of their information is absolutely public. Like later on, I'm jumping way to the end of the book here, but they end up finally looking at Jason Taverner's papers at like the police headquarters, and it lists his income, every lawsuit he's been involved in, and like who he's dating and stuff like that. And it's obviously just strikes me of like, oh, like the NSA is able to access all this information about you at any moment just by plugging into your Vault 7 disclosure, and NSA profile or whatever. Um and Yeah, it's really remarkable. The other interesting thing about this world that they've created is that it's like extremely permissive, morally speaking. It's like a libertine society.
Mm.
And it's almost like given as like a bread and circus in exchange for this, like, you have no political freedom whatsoever, which is like what we're living in today. Basically, we have ultimate moral for ultimate like libertine. You could be a complete sexual degenerate, take basically whatever drugs you want, and become a big fat piece of shit. Um,
Recreation is the imperative.
right.
You know,
And it's
yeah.
yeah, it's in order to keep you from desiring any sort of political ends for yourself.
Even
And
when
and
you're not like crippled by these, by sedatives or, yeah. You got hobbies and shit. People like they run marathons, Scott. Like
sure.
these are the things that are being used to sublimate
What
what
did Uncle
is
Ted call it?
uh
Substitute activities or
yes.
something? Substitute yeah.
Uh we should know.
Whatever, it's fine. They know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so let's get into the story. I guess the best way to describe the various features of the story of the world it inhabits
Surrogate.
is to sort of just go through surrogate activities. That's right, yeah.
Mm.
Jason Taverner is basically like the Johnny Carson of his day, of the world that he inhabits. Except he's like a singer almost,
Oh, great.
or not almost, he literally is. He's like a pop singer come Johnny Carson essentially.
Johnny Carson plus Tom Jones plus like like Jerry Lewis in what's the De Niro movie?
Dean Martin.
I'm thinking of more like malevolent, like evil characters in the
Oh, you mean like the character in
Fatty
fucking King of
Arbuckle,
Comedy? Oh, Fatty
King of
Arbuckle.
yeah, he killed a lady with a bottle. Not good, not nice. Yeah, like King of Comedy, that like where he's just
That
like a
version of Jerry
real,
Lewis, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That is kind of a pretty decent analog to it. Is the Jerry Lewis character in in King of Comedy? Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, except not Jewish, obviously.
Despite
Um,
it coming out later, uh, it certainly it
yeah.
pre
Well, I
yeah.
mean, this is yeah. I don't know that there was a direct reference. I don't think it
No,
was like it's parallel thinking.
rather just speaks to how clear PKD's vision is and how well he writes and how cinematically he lays out a scene and how rich his characters can be. This guy feels real,
Yeah.
um, and it's
Yeah, he
easy to
writes
see.
men very well. I don't. He doesn't write women wonderfully, but he writes men really well.
No comment. What's
Yeah,
that Jack
so
Nicholson thing in As Good as It Gets or something?
I he says
Take a
like,
man.
how do you write women so well? Well, I think of a man and then take away all accountability and
I take about I remove rationality and accountability or something.
something like that. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, anyways, Jason Taverner, he's a complete dickhead at the beginning of the book. He's dating like the top pop star essentially, and he has like a gazillion mistresses. And he finds himself in a pickle because one of his mistresses calls him while he's with his real girlfriend in the car, and he goes, "Hang on, I'll deal with this," and goes to her house, and she throws a fucking jellyfish, an electric sort of science fiction jellyfish at him. Which, by the way,
Picture.
immediately I go heart attack gun. That's what he's referencing.
Oh, well, well, the kind of the platform that Heart Attack Gun operates under, the delivery system, which is supposedly a
Portuguese man of war.
dissolvable uh, dart that
Yeah.
contains a ton. So it doesn't have to give you a heart attack, give you heartburn, which I think I get hit with that thing twice a day. I'll tell you that much. But this guy, I think it also feels like also something that came later. If you've seen The Matrix,
Hmm.
uh, he gets hit with
Oh, that little
that
squid thing. Yeah.
yeah, they yank that out of his belly, and it's an interesting thought. PKD seems to have stared at bugs a lot while high, and really, really thought about all of the worst. How can we make insects worse, scarier?
Yeah.
What terrible ways could they be, you know, augmented and applied to
Right. Well, he
At
wakes up
least
in the hospital like an hour later, and he's and his girlfriend's like, "I saved your life." And he's like, "Well, get me out of here. I gotta, you know." And then he passes out again, and he wakes up the next morning in a Fleabag motel, and he realizes he doesn't have any of his identification. And in this
which
world, you need to have identification. You'll be sent immediately. You'll be assumed that you're working with the students who are, as we mentioned before, like sort of like the student movement in like the students for a democratic society kind of sort of vibes thing. And like they were the leaders of the Second American Civil War, and they lost terribly. And there's it led to a like first of all like a fucking like genocide at first, and turned the all the people who got thrown in forced labor camps are more like death camps. And
was this like everybody wearing glasses gets it?
I would imagine there was something to that effect. Yeah, I think there's a lot less people in that world, if I'm not mistaken, because they talk about. I guess that's still a lot. He said that Jason Taverner show has 30 million viewers, which is something that they talk about a lot. Is the fact that he 30 million viewers.
Oh, yeah, I mean that
That's
is
good, obviously. I think
10%.
that's
Yeah, yeah, 10% of the U.S. population ish.
well. That's what I'm saying. I think there's less people because of the American Civil War.
Okay.
Yeah,
Also makes me think he's maybe not as popular as he thinks he is.
he is only on one night a week.
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
Well,
no.
we didn't mention also that he's a six, which is a genetically engineered super person. Which is, I guess they selectively bred him out of all of the previous aristocracy's genes to have a race of superhumans.
No way they used aristocratic genes for
That's
this
what it
purpose.
said in the book
Yeah,
somewhere.
and yeah, but that's what they tell them. What they really, they're like,
Yeah, well, it made me think of it because, especially because he and his girlfriend Heather Hart are both sixes.
mm,
It made me think of like the Monarch program kind of thing. Like,
mm. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Just and they go right out and call it a eugenics experiment. What these
yeah.
people are, um, and we, naturally we self-select for these things, naturally. But the the sick society that we're steered under, it kind of really is accelerating things to a point where PKD, it just seems like obvious now. Like, oh yeah, we're
Well,
pushing
in the book, though, the six program is like a failure and it's been abandoned essentially
mm,
because the sixes themselves are so highly individualistic they can't get along and they
yes.
never manage to do a political coup kind of and take over. And in fact, like a leader of like the one of the leaders of the student movement proved to be a six, I guess, actually. Some guy named Tea Garden. Just it's just this is the beauty of this book too, is everything's just really just sprinkled in there, details. One of the other things I loved is there's two kinds of money. There's high value government bills and gold coins. And they're different because at one point somebody orders food, and the person says that it's $5 and two gold coins, meaning
Oh
they're
my God.
different. They're viewed as different things and they have different values. And but to me, this is obviously a reference to Nixon going off the gold standard,
Oh
which
sure.
caused a mini like a stock market panic and like
Hmm.
a decline in the economy. So definitely something that had just happened, by the way, when this book was written. So I'm not surprised at all he included something about this, and it's something even for fiscal gold bugs can enjoy this book. By the way,
Well, I think he manages to pack all this in because of how quickly he
just a
stitches these stories together. See,
yeah,
he really does see the lattice.
yeah.
He sees the code.
You know, what I was gonna say I kept every time I reread it today. I read it earlier this week and last week, and I just banged through it again today, and I every time I like caught some little thing and then just I Googled something about it and you know what I mean? I got a little more information. Then went back to the text and I imagine PKD just laughing to himself, typing it. You know what I mean? Like shit like that with the gold standard thing. It's
Yeah.
so fun. Like that's such a tiny little detail. You imagine him cackling to himself, being like, "Ah, that's so clever."
Just dead silent in this apartment. All you could hear,
Yeah,
and yeah, oh man,
love it.
what's and that there is I'll tell you the more I read of PKD, the more I like him, but the more I feel so terribly sorry for him, you know?
He
Uh,
lived to a pretty ripe old age, for the
nah,
record.
but yeah, but it 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 hurt the whole way there, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. It could have been a worse life, I'd say.
the guy was he had a file. Who doesn't? But I mean, listen, he had a file on him. I think
I
they were
don't
zapping
doubt
him.
it.
I think that Scott, for goodness
Well,
sakes,
we can
dude,
look into this in the future. I'm just enjoying his canon first.
you're right. I took some detours into the Gnostic how you say under the amount of because this book specifically is what a lot of his odd, which if folks are interested, they should double back and check out our Do Androids Dream Electric
Yeah.
Sheep episode, where we talk about a lot of the synchronicities and odd parallels between his own life, his own work. A lot of that is what pops up in here.
Yeah.
Um, I think a lot of it really is that depersonalization. The
Well, let's talk about that right now. One of the key elements and key themes of this book is reality shattering, is systems of perception, and how it's very Baudrillardian actually, is the idea that like he almost wants to say that there's no to it's there's
there
no
was no
signif
late night.
everything signifier. So let's just examine. Well, hang on, let me just get to the main plot point. As he wakes up
Yeah, yeah.
and basically he doesn't exist anymore. There's no record of him in the central computer, even though nobody's ever heard of Jason Taverner. He calls his agent and his girlfriend and his lawyer, and they're all like, "Who the fuck are you?" His girlfriend thinks he's a fucking fan stalker who's been like digging in her garbage to find out like details that only a lover would know. Um, and he just simply doesn't exist in the whole world. And again, I should also mention spoilers, by the way. Because the end of this book is a huge spoiler. In the end of the episode, we'll be discussing it. And I must say that this is like such a fucking. We don't have a rating system for books, but this book is a fucking 10. Like, this is such a
Yeah,
good fucking
yeah.
book, man. Like,
All right, yeah. I can see that. It's up there. It
it's
really
definitely
is.
it's an A plus. I'll say that. How about
It
that? We have
is.
I'll have different systems for each type
Sure.
of media.
A plus is good. I like the old public school grading system for
Yeah,
books.
sure. It's an A plus. I'll say that.
Not an A plus
So
plus.
don't fucking necessarily if you want to read this and be able to experience it for the first time. Because also I reread it today and I laughed at myself because the previous time I'd reread it because I'd forgotten it after 7, 8 years, there were small twists where I that I had forgotten about, and there's like tension for a minute, and you're like, oh, how is he gonna get out of this? And then rereading it again this week, or today rather, I was like almost laughing at myself for not seeing that this was all gonna twist into something unexpected anyway. And it's
Mhm.
just so fucking, it's such a roller coaster ride of a
Yeah,
book.
yeah. No,
Um,
he's priming you for a punch that never comes, but yeah. Then
yeah,
some
but it's like it's almost like I almost analogize it to those fucking Safdie movies, like
yeah.
where it's like, oh God, what are we doing now? No,
Yeah,
at
and then
every moment of
ultimately,
it, like,
yeah, no, it doesn't matter if your girlfriend's sleeping with the weekend. You're dead.
that's not what I fucking meant. I mean the fact
That,
that
that,
it's constant anxiety throughout the
yeah,
whole thing. Yeah,
but it's constant anxiety over ultimately things that don't matter because at the end, it just brought you to this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Where
anyway, so let's just examine that idea of the idea that systems of perception basically is like the key thing I want to drive home for this book is so Jason Taverner is the Johnny Carson of his world. Everybody fucking knows who he is. He's a pop star. He's on TV once a week with 30,000 people, 30 million people watching him every week. He's also been raised to think he's genetically superior to everybody. Um, and also he's a gazillionaire. Now he ends up waking up with a big wad of money in his pocket, so that's a nice plot. Deus Ex Machina
oh
help.
my back. I feel like I've been sleeping on a lot of money.
Yeah. So that helps. But that said, he had unlimited resources and now in a world where being caught without the things that he specifically doesn't have is means essentially death. Um so okay,
But it's beyond that. It's not just that he has no ID and has to go sit in line at the DMV for one. It's that he none of his records
they don't even
exist.
exist,
Yeah.
meaning it'll flag as something very odd, and he's obviously going to get associated with the ongoing political strife that's going on in
Hmm.
this society or whatever. But my point is that he's suddenly given a front row seat to the fact that fame itself is a construction, it's a fiction essentially, and it's a consensual
Delusion.
hallucination essentially that we all consensually hallucinate together. There's nothing intrinsically different about Tom Cruise than us, but because of his status in the Judeo-capitalist system both a high earner and a high revenue creator for the movie system. He's also a propaganda plate. He
Hell
was
yeah,
in the
baby.
fucking Top Gun movies, particularly this most recent one. Um, and yeah, it's
In the
just it.
future, people are gonna think he was the first president.
I
All
don't
this
know the
dr-
first. We have
uh,
another hyper real character to fill that role,
we'll see. We'll see
George
when the
Washington
records
himself.
dr- uh, tell you this much. Um, when you were reading this, did you feel there's a lot of humor. It's
It's
very
all of his
funny.
books are fucking hilarious,
He's
dude.
so funny, dude. And
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like and he knows how to write things in a way where you can picture it. It has a reference point where I've seen this before, and I've seen it again. He like the way that he shoves his lady into the flying car when she's asking stupid questions.
yeah,
It's just all perfectly paced and all very well illustrated. I'm sorry, carry on. It's good reading, good fun.
yeah. I love it. What was I gonna say though? So again, the
Is
thing that keeps, and then the other thing is like he. Well, we'll get to that when we get to the character. But my point is he's suffering through a complete identity collapse, as you said,
Mhm.
depersonalization. Great way to put it. He has all these ideas about himself, and only now that he has had all of his fictional identity stripped from him, he can actually be a vulnerable person and have emotions and stuff for the first time in his life. And it's an interesting, not spoiler alert, but at the end of the book everything comes back, and he seemingly learned nothing, by the way. That's the best part about it, is that is that you think like throughout all this thing where right as soon as he finds out that he has no more papers, he goes, well, fine, take my whole career away from me, and I just want to live, damn it. Now I'm not going to be able to live because I don't have my papers. That goes away. By the
Yeah,
end of the thing, he's not happy that he's just alive walking around. He wants to be a fucking a famous TV star again because
famous schmoozer.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The total anti-Christmas story, total anti-Christmas Carol type
Yeah,
of
oh yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what
I
it is.
mean, I don't
Christmas
think there's
Carol.
ever been a PKD book that is like has a nice feel good ending.
Yeah,
Although the
no.
epilogue in this is a different, I would say it's tonally
Yeah.
different than many of his other books.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say I felt different at the end of this one than I have, reading androids and so on. This,
and Scanner Darkly. That one's one of the darkest
yeah, I
endings,
mean,
actually.
goes with that. So, as you were saying, the idea that his whole identity is really just held up by
Capitalism, essentially.
what's
Yeah.
record yeah what's on the record and what can be rather than he doesn't everyone that knows him either frankly I think a lot what's funny, I don't know if this is getting too far ahead, but everybody that should know him for other than being a celebrity, the actual people in his life, his agent, his
Yeah.
girlfriend, they fall into this gray area of being potentially complicit in this whole thing, this whole
Oh, so you're suggesting an alternate reading of the entire book, that it's not nothing hinky or science fiction is going on at
oh,
all.
it did, but I wanted to run this by you to see if it crossed your mind at all that the people who, the first people that he makes contact with that should know him no matter what, whether he's famous or not, um, they all have reason to, I suppose, yeah, I don't know, really. It might be a little too conspiratorial of a reading, but I was reading this as he did not really have a psychological break up until really the mescaline dosing later on at the mansion. It felt like more of a everyone else that he talks to could have very well not have known him. People on the street
Oh,
or
okay, I see
like
what you're saying. So he even goes through this thought process at one point when he's
exactly.
in the diner. Yeah, that maybe the being a rich famous celebrity was the drug induced bullshit all along.
I mean, he's talking to a 20-year-old or 15-year-old girl about actually later on, like younger people do go up to him and they know him. I'm
Yeah.
shooting my
Well,
own
that's when
theory in this,
that's
but
actually what causes him to go, "Oh, wait, no, I really am a celebrity" at the end. Yeah. However,
well,
but no, but what you're saying is valuable, because I was gonna say the fact is that the whole beauty of this book is nothing is ever resolved as to what is reality, what is not reality. Um, we never get closure as to where those like the cuttlefish nodules went.
oh
We
man,
never get closure as to so many different things, and I'll highlight some of them more later. But it's just it's written in this in like it's like a David Lynch movie. Like
oh,
it's like
beautiful.
it's in
Yes,
complete
it's a
fucking
David Lynch
dream, like
book.
you can follow the plot from beginning to end, but it still feels like you're describing a dream, and it's hard to describe
That's
because, like in a dream, by the way, there'll be real like memorable conversations where you are in it with the fucking characters, and you're watching them, and everything makes sense in context, and then the next thing happens and
hmm
you're like, what the fuck had just happened?
yeah,
How is this happening? and
yeah.
and
We
then
were just
again, it
at
also,
Pinky's or whatever.
particularly in those parts where I'm talking about, where where it is like a Safdie brothers movie, where it's super anxiety inducing or whatever. It's like that feels like a nightmare, like you're stuck in. And there's a part later where I think this is not like, I may not literally go into this directly, but there's a part later where he's getting dragged in to the police, and they take his name and they get it wrong, and he gets out for a minute, and he's like, I'm out, I made it out. And then all of a sudden they start calling him back in, and he goes, fuck. He goes back in, and they're like, hey, actually, we gotta take you in after all. And it's like, no, you go
Yeah.
through the whole emotional journey with him during this
hmm
part. And it's just like, oh my God. And it feels like a nightmare.
hmm It truly does. You're watching, and it's something that you have as little a handle on as he does.
Yeah.
Even less so at the end, because
Yeah, he's
all
an
avenues
established
are open.
character in his universe, but because he's in a ostensibly new world, because he's in a world that he does not exist, he is a fish out of water. So, I mean, he sort of understands, unlike, the trope of fish out of water to introduce the character to the audience to the world. Um, he knows how the world works, but basically he has to figure out how he has no conception of how someone who isn't in his position goes through life, and it's all new to him. So you get to go on that journey with him as well, and you get to experience with him at the same time the feeling of precarity for the first time in his life, which in a world that is insanely precarious, by the
Yes.
way.
Oh, absolutely. Um, he shall we proceed with the plot?
Yeah, yeah.
There's too much good stuff that would be
I
jumping
know
ahead
you're
to.
right. So okay, he wakes up in the Fleabag motel, and he goes down to the lobby and goes to the first guy he sees, smart guy by the way, very street smart here, and asks him, "I need to get fake IDs, man. I'll give you $500. Give it to me." And the guy turns out to be psychic, by the way. I love this. This is just a simple sprinkling in that there's psychics in this world, by the way.
Yeah. What a
Um,
monkey wrench.
it doesn't even really amount to anything other than the guy admonishing Tavener for being racist, if you recall.
Yeah. Go figure. Is that
So
all we're
even
gonna
your
use?
brains, even your racist thoughts inside your head aren't your own in this world.
Well, hmm,
So I didn't even we didn't even talk about the race thing. So in this dystopian the dystopian police state, the way they've solved. So I mentioned before that they have like this sort of bread and circus kind of like a way of dealing with the like political tension, the political economy, if you will, of this police state and techno panopticon. And so, like I said, there's like recreational drug use is just legal. So anyone can take any drugs, and again, pedophilia is legal. Yeah, age of consent has been lowered to 12, and also, by the way, Jason Taverner's fucking his most recent hit song is called "Go No Nowhere Know How Fuck Up" or something like that.
it's a ballad.
It's a pop song with "fuck up" in the title. So my point is that like there's just no more moral standards anymore.
Right. Yeah.
So in keeping
Boundaries
with the
have blurred.
liberal, it's liberalism essentially. It's the liberal ending of things because ultimately liberals will never get rid of the bad parts of the state. It's so they in
Hmm.
fact they love that's the part of it. In fact, what they want is this sort of future. Honestly, is like a complete panopticon. You're not allowed. So you're not allowed to have any sort of dissident thoughts that would be genuinely revolutionary or structurally changing, but you will use your psychic powers to scold a guy for being racist.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this future, they've it's another reverse eugenic program to generationally breed black people out of the population, but you can't even yell at them without getting sent to a forced labor
Oh
camp.
man.
Like you can't be racist. They will throw you in a forced labor camp for being racist
They're
against
an
black
endangered
people.
species. It's so funny. There's what's the moment where he says, if I just turned this wheel a little left and ran that guy over right now, I'd go to jail.
No, it was the death penalty.
If I ran this black guy over right now, I'd get the death penalty. You believe that? What a world.
Yeah.
It's a little he had
I do
it,
want to say though, there's a little bit of a comparison to be made to our current society because like
oh yeah.
it's like okay, for all the crowing that the liberal media and liberals themselves do about the poor black people, it's so terrible how how downtrodden they are and
They are
oppressed.
so poor and so black, we don't know what to
Yeah,
do with them.
right. That said, they're not on the upswing for the most
Oh,
part,
I mean,
by and large. I don't know, maybe that's not true anymore, but by all statistics I've seen, their death rates for murder are not going down. But however, for all that crowing, um, yeah, so for all that crowing, no progress has been made in that arena. However, they are treated like endangered species. If you were to be unfortunate enough to cross paths with a black person who's doing a crime on you, and you were to defend yourself legally, you would be convicted of improper
Yeah.
or unlawful killing,
Yeah.
slaying.
So it was coming
So
right
very
at
much
me.
so. It's
You
very
don't
similar
have,
to
let me see do you have the tags? If you don't have the tags, you didn't go to the county clerk and get the tags, you can't shoot them.
yeah.
Simple as. I gotta take
So
you
I'm
in.
just saying, it's not totally. He wasn't totally on the money for it because it seems like, yeah, again, they're. I mean, they are aborting. I'm just saying, aborting a lot of themselves for the record.
No, I think they're on the upswing. I think that there's something
I have not
something
looked
about blue
into it at all.
Takis.
So if somebody wants to correct me on this, you know how to get a hold of me.
Uh I'll tell you this much, Scott. The I don't know. The streets have never been more full of dirt bike quad.
YNs.
Oh my goodness gracious golly, Miss Molly. And hey, I appreciate having fun, being free and all, but we can't we can't just start now. We can't not
I wasn't making prescriptions. I was just commenting on the similarities between the world in the book and the real world.
listen.
Anyway, let's move on.
Just
So
a
he
little
brings
bit
him to the
left.
his contact, which is a documenter, or what, or documist. What did she say that she had? They had a name for it. Another thing I love is that they have all these like weird, consistent abbreviations,
Mm.
like plastic S for plastic surgery. They're for some reason all refer to it as plastic S. Um,
Surgery's a dirty word.
Yeah.
So,
And also MF is mindfuck, by the way,
so
or
funny.
mindfucker, not a motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
But also celebrity fucker, CF is something that's brought up 4 or 5 times.
Mhm.
Um,
Which just speaks to, I guess, the what's normal enough to warrant abbreviation, I guess, in this culture. Maybe
I
there's,
think it's also, I think they like to abbreviate things in this culture.
I mean,
Well, they call the
I'm,
police the Poles and the National
yeah,
Guard the Nats too.
I like that. Poles and Nats those are good. But listen, I'm into the whole brevity thing as much as the next guy, but
Sure.
uh, yeah, ultimately, that's the least jarring thing to get used to in PKD's work.
So he goes to the a document reproducer, and and her name is Kathy, and she's like a 19-year-old girl who is severely mentally ill. So this is another thing, a really poignant thing that the book does. It sort of meditates on the same way that the plot is a breakdown in reality. It examines the way that just having to deal with mentally ill people is a breakdown in reality. And you also have, when you do deal with mentally ill people, you see that they are also unfixed in reality.
And ultimately, you interacting with them,
Takes you into their world with them. Yeah.
yes, and I mean, there's something about I forget the technical term for it. It's this the idea of reality rendering only where consciousness presides, where reality is only there because it's
Yeah, like quantum
constructed.
mechanics.
Sure, sure. I suppose that this book, there's something to, especially when we get to the end where they have their explanation for what happened
Yeah.
here,
The
but
reality warp. Yeah.
yeah, which yeah,
Um,
so
So yeah, Kathy is a 19-year-old girl who is a expert what
counterfeiter of
counterfeiter, perfect, yeah. And he offers her money, and she asks for $2,000 to give him a new set of which fuck ton of money in the time that this book was written, by the way.
Yep.
And for the reproduced identifications. And she tells him, by the way, that the other guy who brought him here, surprise, surprise, is a police informant, as is she.
Hmm.
But don't worry, she likes him, so she's not gonna filch on him.
They literally said it later, like, yeah, she only narcs on people she doesn't like.
Right. Well, that's the thing is that so this is another meditation that the book takes a moment to sort of examine is like when someone has your life in their hands, like in sense that they have power over you, they are controlling your reality now. You know what I mean? And that person is mentally ill. Now you're in real trouble, bucko. So again,
Yeah.
this is a guy who just lost. He fell out of reality. He's now in an alien world, so to speak. It's not alien to him, but he is alien to it. And
Yep.
now he's at he ends up getting that Eddie guy, the psychic, off his ass by giving him another $500 because he's an alcoholic. Um,
See what I mean? Every single person he's interacted with thus far has something about them that could make them, uh, I don't know, an
deal
improper,
withable.
sure, yeah, an improper anchor to reality.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say though, it's worth mentioning though the fact that he has this big pile of money in his pocket, unthinkable amount of money in his pocket for 1974 PKD.
Yep.
He can warp reality a little bit himself
Sure, yeah, yeah.
because it's money.
Hmm.
And the other thing is he's a six. So he's at least in his own mind, he is like super suave and better, smarter than everyone, quicker than
Hmm.
everyone. He
He's
constantly, even when he fucks up, and like for instance, like when that chick throws the parasite at him, the parasite cuttlefish at him, he goes, his reflexes were good, but they weren't good enough. So even in his, let's assume that there's a little bit of his own narration in the
yeah,
narrator's voice,
sure.
and it's rationalizing his own failure within the context of him still being actually better than everybody.
Listen, who could blame a guy? I mean, who hasn't had a, like, I don't know, robotic cuttlefish thrown at their torso to,
It wasn't
administer
robotic; it
some
was totally organic.
damn interesting. Uh, was that initial dose, some kind of like anesthetic, or uh, do you think that was uh, what actually might have if he did
It's never
split?
explained. I take
No.
it as granted that the end explanation is what actually caused the whole thing.
Hmm.
But that's the beauty of PKDs. You don't have to take it that way. You could be like this whole thing is him actually in a fever dream at him dying. That last
Of
I just even occurred to me right now
Yeah.
that the beginning of the book after he falls asleep in the fucking in the hospital where they're saying we're going to bring you into surgery right now and dig out the last of the suckers or whatever. And we don't know that anything past that is reality. It could be all a fucking DMT expression in his brain as he's dying. We don't know.
Death by cuttlefish. Oh my
I
goodness.
never even thought of that till literally right now, actually.
This is it's such a funny image. Like, imagine just the Seinfeld set, like Kramer comes in, and he's going to go see his ex-girlfriend. She just throws this like
Takes a plastic bag and chucks a fucking jellyfish in his chest. Yeah.
devilish poison cuttlefish at his chest, and his instant reaction is almost like, "Ah, I know what to do, but this sucks." And
Yeah.
he immediately runs to the cabinet, pulls out a bottle of bourbon,
Whiskey.
and douses it as if he knows what to do, which is
Yeah,
very
well,
funny.
that's like almost myth building for him to be like, yeah, he's a six. Of course, he knows what to do. He's like a secret agent almost, you know.
Oh, he's probably pissed off a
Only for
lot of
you to later
ladies.
find out that he's kind of full of shit, honestly, in
So
many
funny.
ways.
So funny.
But
Um,
yeah, so he's with this chick, and she ends up going like, I like you. I want you to come back to my apartment with me. And if I'll take care of everything as long as you just hang out with me for a bit. And after she gets to he gets to her apartment. First of all, I love this character so much because she's a fucking hipster and
Yeah.
she like lays out intellectual books for you to comment on.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And she's clearly obsessed with status. Like where the fact that she is like trying to bring up all different like intellectual books for him to be like, oh, you've read thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she's happy as shit when he is like impressed by her intellect. But then he'll say a word like paramilitary, and she's like, I don't know words like that. Fuck you, you fucking asshole.
Jesus. All
You made
right.
me remember I'm a piece of shit.
Take away logic and accountability.
Well, no, it's a crazy person. But okay, she also reveals that she's not an escapee. He describes her as escapee, but she's had formerly been in listen here, a trendy for-profit mental institution. And later, it's it descri- with some context of what Jason Taverner's in his brain talking about, he describes in the same breath as him talking about that trendy psychiatric place, he talks about how she's a perfect encounter group leader. So
Ooh.
the book is making an equivocation between that place and Synanon for
Yeah.
those uninitiated with the encounter group terminology.
PKD. Never,
And by the
never miss it.
by, she leaves that place and immediately becomes a fucking COINTELPRO operative,
Yeah.
essentially. So what this guy is fucking spinning so many conspiranoid plates. It's blowing my fucking mind, dude.
There's not enough plates in the world, and he doesn't drop one. Everything.
So let me spell this out. She went to
He's
Synanon. She went to that universe's version of Synanon, came out and became a narc, essentially.
after. Yeah. So,
And she's mentally ill and has multiple personalities, essentially, and
yeah.
believes two sets of realities,
Yes.
essentially.
And she is one of the first points of contact for this guy who's potentially being used as a patsy later on.
Scapegoat, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so, Kathy is I've misattributed the very funny line. I can't remember. I think it was he walks into the room and he goes, "It was very apparent that she was mentally ill."
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
I think it
Yeah.
was her. Was it when he walks into her house? Because I'm looking
Yeah, oh
for it,
yeah.
but
It
I
was
can't
definitely her that she was mentally ill.
find
Yeah.
my notes.
So she
So
reveals
funny.
that while she's in Synanon, that universe's version of Synanon, she met her boyfriend, who she first says is in the National Guard
Oh boy.
and or been drafted into the National Guard, so she can't talk to him, so she can fuck whoever she wants. And then she admits that she met him while she was in Synanon, and while she was in there, she was under the delusion that regular people were famous people, and she used that reasoning to fuck them. Like, so deluded her. She was in a delusional state that a random guy named David inside the mental hospital was a celebrity named Mickey Quinn,
Oh my
who I
God, it's Mickey
assume,
Quinn. Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah,
It's
and
Chip Gregory or
then
whoever.
also Jack, the guy she calls her husband, said so. Basically, she fucks that guy, and then he says, "It's okay, honey. You could fuck other guys. I get it that you're he's a celebrity. I get it." So now he's operating in her crazy world to keep her in his life,
Hmm.
essentially.
Hmm.
So this
Yeah.
is the thing. It's all about melding perceptions. And she also, by the way, I don't take her at her word that she genuinely thought he was Mickey Quinn. I feel like this is like something her crazy fucking bitch brain conjured up as justification to fuck the guy at the
Mm.
psychiatric hospital that she wanted to fuck. And then, but this is the beauty, is that so later she's talking about how magnetic Taverner is, and part of you goes, of course, he's this genetically altered person or whatever. But then you find out she has this weird hang up about wanting to fuck celebrities. And even though she's never even heard of him, she can tell he's a celebrity by the way that he acts.
Yeah.
Which is, again, he isn't a celebrity in this world, but he still acts as if he is one.
He's been conditioned to behave as such, and
Yes,
he
so
has
that gives
been
her the
walking
impression that
around.
he's a celebrity, and therefore she wants to fuck him. So then you're caught in this sort of PKD valley here, which is he actually even modified, or is this some bullshit thing? And is she just attracted to him not because he's some sort of super suave, super charismatic guy, or is it just that she likes him because she thinks he's a celebrity?
The surest thing about this book is the days it took place on. Maybe.
I think that's really the central thing is that like no, there is no
It's
there.
like
There's no like
Fargo.
yeah.
Some of this happened. Like
Well,
what?
no, it didn't.
Yeah, well, none of it happened yet. Well, I want to talk so much about PKD's his late in life realization that all of history is just a stuttering VHS uh like uh tape burn of the crucifixion of Christ and the fall of Rome, and where like what happened there was so cataclysmic and universe shaking that it never stopped happening.
I believe that. What I was gonna say is, is that in a book of his, or is that something he just like
It's
said in an
it's
interview?
it's in all of his books, I
Well,
guess.
yes, but did he put it pen to paper and say describe that exact
Yeah,
phenomenon?
yeah, his exegesis, the big Kahuna burger.
Oh, okay. Well,
You
let's
know,
read some more of his books. We'll read that.
I'm scared, Scott. I'm so scared. Um, oh yeah, by the way, never forget that happened. That all started after the visit to the dentist. All right.
Yeah, like McVeigh.
Yeah, all these guys. All right. I'm sorry. Back on track here.
Yeah.
Don't go to
So
the dentist, folks. Pull it out
yeah, I try to
yourself.
avoid it as much as possible.
You find the tooth, pick it up. You might need it later.
True.
Hmm.
What was I gonna say? The so
George
yeah,
Washington
he's
didn't
hanging
have
out with
his
this
own
this
teeth.
crazy. He had slave teeth. Um, what's it called? Hanging out with this crazy bitch, and he goes to dinner with her, and she throws a fucking fit and rolls around on the floor. By the way, speaking of no accountability, she literally says, "Oh, don't worry. If I have a freak out, they'll get me home."
Oh my God. They know who to call. They send the
He
same
ends up
cab
having to
every
pay another
time.
$200 to get the cops not called. By the way,
That's so funny. I
he
mean,
also the other thing is she also has another apartment that is nicer that she
mm,
shares on a cycle with other people. This speaks more to her whole character of like wanting to
bohemian
put on
lifestyle.
airs all the time.
Yeah. Oh, sure. She's a debutante, if you will.
Yeah, another thing is that she has a copy of what is now referred to as In Search of Lost Time by Proust.
Yeah, yeah.
Um but
It,
I don't know if you know this about this. I didn't know anything about this. I just read the full Wikipedia page on it today because I was like I got to figure out what's the deal with this book and why he put it in there. But
yeah.
basically, here's another great angle to look at all of this stuff through is um Proust, that book by Proust, In Search of Lost Time, is about it's like about these different characters, and the whole through line of the entire story is they're always mourning former loves of themselves, former loves in their lives. But also the thing is that they're mourning not so much like the person, they're mourning the person that they were when they had that relationship. You know what I mean? And it's
Hmm.
almost like mourning the time itself, the reality itself that relationship created is gone, and I'm
So
mourning that.
sad.
Not
It's
even so much that
tragic.
I'm mourning that person not being in my life anymore. I'm mourning the love that we had in that life. You know what I mean? I'm mourning the people we were. Those people are dead now. And that's like something that the book meditates on a lot. And think
It's
about that in the context of this book, by the way. He's mourning the person he was, the
mhm.
celebrity. That's just one example, by the way,
Mm.
of the ways that you can analyze this book through that lens.
It's such a
Made me want
great
to read
pull.
that Proust book for
Oh
the record.
yeah, I would love to. It's
Yeah.
yeah. So what else was there were some other literary allusions.
But more on the Proust thing. Another thing that's
Please.
a big theme in that book is about how wanting to love something is like it often can be in a toxic way. It could be like you want to own them.
Hmm. Hmm.
And think about how in the context of this book, how that is like between Felix and Alice. Like he loves his person we're going to talk about later. There's a little bit of a mild twist in there, so we'll talk about that when we get
That
to
was
him.
a real twist, man, because when you first meet Felix, he's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
Yes,
because he seems like, oh yeah, he's effete.
sincere.
He's well, let's talk about him now. So Felix
Ah,
Buckman.
you let's not no, the book's too good. Let's go.
Well, no,
Let's
but
not jump
okay.
ahead.
Basically, though, he
Go ahead.
I think we covered
I'm
enough
sorry.
about Kathy. Basically, what happens is Kathy ends up leading to he ends up getting pulled into the police department over all that.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
wouldn't have to go through the minutia of it. I
the
want to talk about the
type
big ideas,
he
man.
gets out on. Well, I love the that was such a great bit. He gets out on a typo, gets
He
out
gets
on a
out of the typo,
clerical
and then they
error.
call him right back in, and you're
Hell
like,
yeah,
you
dude.
go through. It's just like a Safdie brothers movie where you're like, yes, yes, he's out, he's
No,
walking out of the police station, and all of a sudden the flip flap is fucking shit. Which, by the way, I think a flip flap is supposed to be a helicopter, right?
yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
so.
and a
Something
quibble is like a flying car.
so funny.
I
So funny.
love that he just comes up with new terminology for every book.
A
Like,
quink. A
yeah,
quink.
that's what the
Come on.
gold coins are called. Yeah,
Yeah. That's what I call a I don't know. I got nothing on that one.
a Chinese twink,
Yeah, okay, fine. That works.
a quink.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, that's every Chinese person.
Look, yeah. Well, you don't say it to their face lest catch the five fists of fondue or whatever.
The
You
cream of some young guy.
as
Um, yeah. So,
we were. Yeah, he gets pulled in, and they let him back out again, but now
again,
he's got a paper, and he's got a paper that he can
he can go
wave.
wherever he wants, but they're basically just they're looking at him
Mhm.
essentially.
Which at that point, I mean, we'll assume events are unfolding naturally, without much contrivance. But
Right.
so he's on the lam, he's on the street, he's still got a couple bucks to his name. And is this
He
where
decides he's
he,
gonna like try to get a chick for the night so he can like shack up for the night essentially. And he meets up with like an old flame
hmm
who I take that in two ways because she's an older broad. And she's kind of also batshit, but she's sort of depressed batshit, not schizophrenic batshit.
that you can deal with?
Yeah, well, for sure, he deals with her pretty well. Yeah,
Yeah.
although she does try to break a fucking Knott's Berry Farm earthenware cutting board over his head after he calls her old. That's so many fuck. Yeah, by the way, I just want to point this out. This made me laugh both times. Is that at one point after they fuck, she gets him a cup of coffee or something, and she gives it to him in a plastic mug that says "Keep on trucking." Such a fucking stupid
Oh
detail,
shit.
but it's just fucking mwah,
Yeah,
love
dude.
it. He also
Um,
talks her into bed by or he talks her into bed. So the funny thing is like again it like allows you to play in the reality that he's some sort of super soldier genius James Bond guy, but in the same breath he also says that yeah one summer he knew she fucked 40 guys or whatever like And so you could take it either way. You could take it that he tricked her into bed by saying, "Hey, do you remember me on the set of such and such a TV show?" That he remembered some. It's like Groundhog Day. He doesn't know that he knows her. She doesn't know him. He knows her.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so she's able to go, "Hey, remember that TV show you worked on last year? I was on it." And then she goes, weren't you this guy or whatever? And he's like, "Yeah, it's me." And so now, next thing you know, he's back in her apartment.
I,
Um,
I think it's probably that's more the the I don't know token collecting quality of celebrity and like cosmopolitan culture,
sure,
where like they just collect stories for
sure,
and
I could see that too.
so and PKD was a California kid. Yeah,
True.
he lived out there. He saw a lot of this kind of this reality warping megalomania up front. Yeah. So
Yeah, for sure. I was just gonna say though, is like,
yeah, is this guy a superhuman or is he just does he just know how to pull crazy tail?
yeah, and also, is she a whore? Which,
Yeah.
yeah, both.
A,
And
B,
also,
C, and
again, he's just
D.
like a good-looking guy in his 40s, and she's a woman who's a little younger than that, even though she's, by her own admission, past her prime.
Yeah, look, you're just throwing things at the wall at this point, and they are sticking. That's
Right, but
pretty
that's the
much.
beauty is it's never resolved. In like it's never you get
No,
to
no. I just mean these kinds of people. That's the perfect way that he writes it is that these kinds of people they would l- live. They would fall into these kinds of uh, irreal uh, situations that are built and totally out of lie and artifice. Like
yeah, they're phonies.
hack frauds. I'm sorry,
Phony
I
is
interrupted you to say something not that interesting that you said in
well,
2 words.
regardless. Where were we? Oh yeah, so he ends up shacking up with her in the night. That was very funny. The keep on trucking mug. And ends up finding the a little tracking bug that was on him and flushes it down the toilet. But by this point, they've already located him essentially, and he also rationalizes himself. Oh, I'll be fine because he's lazy. He wants to hang out and not fucking. He also feels bad for this old bitch who's crying about how she's ugly. Who could ever want her? Meanwhile, she's cheating on her husband with him.
I mean, doesn't make her any less human. She needs a shoulder to cry on too.
But he should have left though.
Oh, certainly. But
In terms
where's he
of
gonna go? He's
clearly he's not James Bond if this is his thought process where he's like
he's the man
feeling
with no
bad for a
name.
lady so he's gonna like let himself get caught by the police again.
Yeah, no, that's simp shit right there, man. The man with no name would never, you know,
I don't know, he's actually pretty honorable, but
I
anyway though,
guess.
so
No, he's
now
not.
we meet Felix Buckman at this point. So Felix Buckman is let's just reveal the twist here, well, his twist anyway. He is the general of the California police. It's because it's a general is the leader of the police. And
Hey, that's a veteran you're talking about of the
true. That's a
student
he's a US
genocides,
Marine. I was
the
gonna say
student genocides of the Second Civil War.
sure. So okay, he is a he's like a first of all, every time he says something, it's like a quotation. And he's like clearly like an extremely like effete and cultured person. It's mentioned that he has a master's degree that he got at Berkeley in psychology,
Go
so
on.
he could be a police guy. He's not a six, um, but he has an interesting technique of getting them to spill their guts.
Dude's at least a 5.5, man. We're
Yeah,
pulling
well,
this is Sigma shit right here.
but it is a pretty
It's
clever
very
trick.
funny. Yeah.
But it actually it's just sort of speaking to the six's narcissism,
Faulty construction.
sense of we'll get to that in a minute. I want to talk about that when it's in its time. But I was going to say though is he prides himself on being a man of culture, and he says that he's better than the other cops. That's why he's general, because people like McNulty, the guy who's like managing Kathy the snitch, he's just a stupid pig. I know all about culture and stuff like that. And what I'm doing, my role in this is actually to maintain law and order. I'm creating a society by enforcing this. So this is a lie he's telling himself in order to justify his assuage his own guilt for participating in this monstrous system that he, as a person who's educated and cultured, should know is it's a monstrous system. And to the extent that he this all this for all this culture, he kind of puts his money where his mouth is because he instituted a bunch of the reforms for the forced labor camps and like fed them like and like gave them a deal essentially. And also he funneled food to the student kibbutzim, which is a very funny decision to use that term, by the way. But
Yeah, I wonder if they got shot at while they were getting their rations there.
yeah, maybe I don't know.
Hopefully
That's
not.
not really delved into.
I'm making a contemporary comment, I guess.
Oh, okay. I see what you. It's the other way around, though, isn't
Yeah,
it?
no. But uh, it's I wonder yeah, he fed the folks at the forced labor camps. They also had voluntary drug testing for people there, which I wonder if, hey, you can eat if you volunteer for the drug testing program
Oh
in
yeah. Well, they did the KR4 or
in
whatever
San
drug.
Bernardino or something,
Oh
was it?
yeah, like
Yeah.
that place where the SLA came out of.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so mm, a- as we were saying, Felix is a feat Felix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so let's give a little spoiler here, not a spoiler here for
He's a
he is an
family man.
asexual. Yeah, he's a
Oh,
very
come on.
family man. He's
Married
in a
man, are you, Felix?
yeah, an incestuous marriage with his twin sister, who is a absolute dialectical opposite to him, and not in every way, because she's also a person of culture. And in fact, they share the hobby of collecting things obsessively. Now, obviously, different things, dialectically opposed things. What he collects is stuff that is like ancient chess sets and military paraphernalia and memorabilia and firearms and stuff. And what she collects is S&M comics, um, and drugs, and she dresses as a dominatrix essentially all the time. And she also is constantly taking drugs and doing and having orgies. And oh, we didn't even talk about the phone orgy stuff. So there's also like a uh in the tabletop RPG Shadowrun, there's something called BTLs, which is stands for Better Than Life. And it's like a computer program that you jack into, like in the Matrix, and it's just like an
Jack
overload
off
dopamine.
into
Like it's like turning. So imagine your brain is one and zero, and pain, or sorry, pleasure is one, and nothing is zero. It just goes
one one
one.
one 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 one
Yeah,
one
yeah, yeah.
10 1 1 1 1.5.
Essentially,
Yeah.
that's what. So basically, in this world that's been created in the book, there's like this illicit,
Nine
um,
11s.
yeah, there's an illicit network of phone sex people who all jack into each other's pleasure centers, and it's illegal. But I want to mention that later on in the book, there's when they're talking about this whole scapegoat angle, which we'll get to later, of course. Um, Felix talks about the original proprietors of the phone sex orgy network on a first name basis. Did you notice that? So he
Oh,
goes Pam
interesting.
and Fred and all those fucking degenerates or something like that. We shot Pam and Fred and so and all those fucking degenerates.
It's so
It
funny.
implies to me that he was on a first name basis with the people who
Yeah.
were doing this shit.
Hmm.
Meaning again, there's all these little winks at the idea that the people who are doing the most degenerate shit are the government, essentially. And man, man, I love this guy's books. They're so fucking good, man.
Hell yeah, dude. So what have we done so far? Scan the Darkly, Androids,
And this,
Flow My Tears.
yeah,
Uh, is there anything else? Because I
I
love
want to do
to.
Valis. I've never read
sh-
Valis.
Sure. What's that virtual?
I don't know. Let's not speculate. Let's go into it raw.
Let's joke and make up
Fuck
fun
it. We'll do it
anagrams.
live.
So
No,
true.
anyway, so let's talk a little more about Felix. So he's in this, but again, it's like they're like the opposites, but they're also twins. Oh, there we go. There's some Gerard right there.
Hmm.
They're twin opposites, and he's
Inseparably
the good.
different.
He's the pillar of society, literally a general in the militarized police, and she's a degenerate socialite who
Hmm.
engages in drug trafficking for fun and doing all kinds of weird shit
Hmm.
and illicit networking. What could that be double
So
entendre
true, dude.
for?
We're looking at you, New York art scene.
Yeah.
All,
Um,
so, by the way, yeah, all the shit in their house is just all st nothing really fun. It's just shit that they pick up and talk about for 45 minutes at a time.
yeah, she also, oh yeah, they mentioned that, or Felix himself mentions that due to the fact that she's taken so many drugs and engaged in such debauchery, all of the human parts of her brain are gone, and it's all just pleasure, essentially, at this point.
Yeah, well, yeah,
To each their own, I guess.
there's something unhuman about um wanting nothing but pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like my girlfriend's been getting stronger than me lately. She, exercises when I do not.
sure.
So uh there's probably
You should
something that
probably get some protein in there, I mean.
we were just talking about this. Scott, what are the best ways to get protein into your diet other than like getting
Eggs.
cuddle fish? Oh, she hates them. All right, we'll figure it out. We'll figure out some kind of uh
A chicken breast is like what gym bro
take
guys
it
eat.
easy. Take it easy. It's a family show. Moving on.
Ugh, imagine eating chicken breast.
I
I
mean,
mean, I do eat it, but it's got to be cooked the right way. It's so easy to fuck up.
uh, we, we should we're gonna do a cooking spin-off eventually.
I was debating doing a video series of some barbecue projects
I
and like
would,
doing a full edit on it and like putting some AI music in the background
brother,
and putting it on YouTube kind of thing. So
brother.
if you guys are interested in that, say so in the group chat.
So glad I took this detour. Hell yeah, dude. All right, moving
I
on.
mentioned I mentioned it somewhere publicly, I think already.
I'm just one piece of space occupying, or wait, yeah, I'm just one piece of space and one space at a time.
Yeah.
I can only
Um
know what I know.
so okay, now so he's at the Ruth lady's house. Oh, yeah, they talk about the rabbit, which is so uncanny and
Mm,
odd that that they had all aside about grief and
yeah,
about about well also the main theme of the book, but we'll get to in a second. But to illustrate these themes, they she Ruth tells a story about a giant rabbit, a giant gray rabbit. And I was like, wow, what a fucking odd coinky dink that I just lost a giant gray rabbit.
yeah.
um,
Long live the king.
yeah.
Long live the king.
He will always be. He forever be in our hearts. What was I
Amen.
gonna say? But yeah, so this story about Ruth Busselman's fucking Ruth Busselman's rabbit.
Oh my God. That's one of the
No,
best.
Ruth Fusselman's rabbit.
Oh,
Sorry, it's
even
still
better.
pretty Jewish sounding.
Fuss. Even that's even more Jewish.
Yeah.
To fuss is to
Yeah,
To
you're right,
Foster's
actually.
day,
Yeah,
you
it's a
know, yeah.
but yeah, so the story goes is that Ruth Fusselman had a gigantic Belgian gray hair rabbit. And
What was that,
he
her
wanted
wig?
to be a cat,
Oh,
which
sorry.
again also strikes my rabbit as well. He also wanted to be a cat. And
This is uncanny and very
yeah, it's pretty
synchronistic.
odd.
Yeah.
I didn't have him when I read this either, by the way, last.
Wow.
So it must have been
Okay.
9 or 10 years ago then, because we've had him for 8 years. We had him for 8 years. I mean,
Meanwhile, PKD knew this all along.
yeah, maybe.
He's
Maybe he
like
saw
he's
into the
giggling
future.
to himself about
But
yeah.
anyway, the rabbit, he thought he was a cat. There were two other cats that allowed him to think he was a cat, essentially. The family all treated the rabbit as a cat, and the cats even accepted him as a cat. But one day, some friend brought over a dog who didn't respect the authority of everyone's consensual hallucination that this rabbit was a cat. And what they would do is they would play a little game where the humans and the cats would all chase the rabbit around in a circle in the living room. And then when the rabbit got tired, he would go under the couch. And then for everyone concerned, the game was over. We're done chasing the rabbit. Let's leave the rabbit alone. Enter the dog. The dog does not know that everyone allows the rabbit to live in Delulu land of being a cat, and that the game ends when he goes under the couch. So the dog bites the rabbit on the ass. Now the rabbit lives, by the way, it's worth mentioning, because there's a funny image is that after this attack, the rabbit hid his ass behind the curtain. Yes,
Oh, what a
because he had
picture, man.
shame of having fur loss back
Oh,
there.
that's so funny. Yeah, I'm picturing a very comical, just like pinch with the tips of his teeth type of bite from the
Yeah,
dog.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
cartoonish image, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But my point is that the parable being expressed here is is I would say the analog would be Taverner. Taverner had been going along in a world where he's been allowed to believe that he's a celebrity by the powers that be. And then one day the dog, the police state, acts on instinct, doesn't respect the fact that treats it as if it was anything else, treats Taverner as if he was any schlub with no papers, shattering the illusion that he is a celebrity because he's treated in the same way that some schlub without his papers is. Just in the same way that the dog shattered the illusion of the rabbit that he was invincible in this game, first of all, but and also in essence a cat, something he is not. So again, this is just a
How
little fucking
now, brown cow?
yeah. How now, brown cow? So yeah,
Now
the
that's
thing reason he keeps bringing that up is because there's in this dystopian future they have voice print and like a four dimensional photo of you on your ID and your passport or whatever, and it's you saying a phrase like "How now, brown cow" to get a voice print on you.
I got a phrase.
Show me
Sure.
the money. Um, yeah. So
Not in the
okay,
ass.
the book now takes a interesting um detour, and for no plot reason whatsoever lets us sit in on the police raiding the next apartment over from Ruth. And it's a pedophile, a gay pedophile, redundant, um that is has a 13-year-old boy who he says he's gonna marry. And the whole point of this little chapter is to humanize the police to you, because there's no plot reason for this little mini story to take place other than to build the world, which I'm appreciative for. Oh, it's also worth mentioning that the guy himself actually goes, I know why you made the age of consent so low, is because some of those police commanders, they're fucking kids too. PKD, spicy.
How now, brown cow? Golly, dude. Yeah, the guy. He. I mean, imagine if. Imagine if he was writing, say, I don't know, 100 years earlier, maybe even 50 years earlier. What would it?
He wouldn't have been published.
Oh my God. Yeah, they'd have gotten rid of him even
50 years
quicker.
earlier, he might have been in weird weird tales or whatever.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
like 40 in fiction type shit. It it's just so. I mean, I'm only entertaining that thought because of the way he himself viewed reality in history, which is some sort of just stuttering recurrence. Um, his stuff is, it's only getting better. It's only getting realer. Uh,
Yeah.
and frankly, I read this shit in like my mid late teens. Uh, did not this one. I didn't read this. I read Scanner Darkly. It did not hit the same then.
No.
No, knowing what,
All the schizo stuff, it really changes it. Yeah.
and just having the,
Life
the
experience. Yeah.
yeah. But as we were, Felix is not having a good day. Back to
Why wasn't he
we're
having a good day? No, wait. This is the point where they ended up they end up finding him at Ruth's house, bust the door down, and they take him in and bring him back all the way back to LA, back to the
hmm
police headquarters. Again, he's back
hmm
there. And now he's sitting in front of Felix. They come the two opponents, so to speak, the antagonist and the protagonist, neither of which are perfect protagonists nor antagonist,
hmm
because the protagonist is kind of an asshole and the antagonist is kind of an understandable guy in some capacity. He's kind of a tragic character in some ways.
hmm Yeah. Just leaves
So
us with nothing really.
to grasp onto, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
what the whole book's about. Don't
yeah,
grasp onto anything because you can't. It's all
yeah.
illusory.
Don't grab on anything. You'll just hurt yourself.
So they're face to face now, and essentially at this point, Taverner is given up. Essentially, he's just like, I don't know what to tell you. I used to know who I was, but I don't exist anymore. Not here. And Felix is like, what do you mean not here? And he's like, where were you known? Or where are you from? And Taverner's just like, I don't know, man. I'm done. Do whatever the fuck you want to me at this point.
Love this part. Yeah. This
Yeah.
this was great because it was the absolute farthest he'd possibly been from who he was in
Yeah.
this other reality at this
He's
point.
being treated like a common criminal. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention the tactic that he uses on sixes. When he
Oh,
found out
so
that he
good.
was a six, he said that he lied, bluffed to him, and said, "I'm a seven." And again, it plays into Taverner's narcissism because he thinks, "Oh, I'm just better than everyone else," and then someone just says one more than you. He's like, "Well, I'm fucked
Oh
because I'm
shit.
obviously so much better than everybody else."
And if this guy's one more than me, that means he's
He
the
must
whole
be playing way over my league. Yeah.
he's all that and a bag of chips, if you will.
So it works like a charm, essentially.
So
But he does.
funny,
There's
dude.
nothing at this point. There's nothing to tell because Taverner himself doesn't know what happened.
By the way, 6'7".
6'7". Yes.
So, by the way, Cabe Allen. If we're talking
What?
about lapses in like the time,
Hmm.
are you familiar with this whole thing? The White House correspondent shooter, that guy, his name being tweeted by this random like anonymous
Israeli. Oh yeah,
account,
yeah, yeah. Some random
but
Groiber account. Yeah.
like 2 years
2 years
ago,
ago. Yeah.
but it
And his
also
name was
has.
searched in Israel like 6 months ago.
But here's the weird thing about that post with his name is that the banner on that profile is like it's a uh, uh, pixelated and altered image of the Trump victory as failed assassination image before it happened.
Well, I'm not surprised by that.
This is all, yeah, very.
I remember. Could you
But
verify that? That sounds fake to me.
well,
Are you sure you weren't duped by that
no,
one
that's
part? I didn't
the
see that.
buddy. Well, let's let. Do I'm gonna
No,
check myself
maybe
in real time.
after I.
All right, folks, don't believe anything we say on this show except for in regards to PKD this evening.
Yeah, I feel confident in what I have to say about PKD. Oh, I should mention also, by the way, I didn't use anyone else's analysis in this. This is
Sure.
all off the dome piece.
Yeah. I mean,
I didn't watch a single other person's like takes on this whatsoever.
there's really nobody. There's some people that have the same bag of uh, bag of tools that we have, or similar tools that we have to view it through. That makes it a whole lot more of a satisfying and also uh, overwhelming experience to read his work. Like I wouldn't want to talk to just like your average sci-fi guy about PKD.
I
About
actually
it.
like talking to average sci-fi guys about it.
I have never bumped into average sci-fi. I literally don't. The only person I've ever talked to about Philip K. Dick is I think you and the 70-year-old man that recommended him to me 15 years ago.
Yeah. Um, I've talked to a couple of people about it, and because you can just talk to them about the surface level of it as well, and just be like, "Isn't it great?"
So well, yeah, in that respect, you're right because it is such well, con well conceived storytelling. Uh, but yeah. So also, yeah, I confused Felix and Taverner. I don't like Taverner's name. What does it mean?
Jason.
Jason. I also, yeah, I forgot his name. Jason. Uh, what is Taverner? I have to. There's got to be something about.
I think the idea is that it's like they even comment on it. It's like, oh, it's a jovial name. You like to it's you having a drink. You're taverner.
I suppose. Yeah,
Um well
well,
anyway,
it's good
so okay, so he gets
etymology.
released again. So basically Felix goes, "You know what? I'm a conspiranoid myself actually, and you must be up to something. Maybe you're not aware of it. Maybe you're a pawn in this. So I'm gonna just gonna
Most
release you and I'm
sober
gonna
reading
what's
possible.
that?
Most sober and like yeah, grounded reading of the situation possible, actually.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, it's kind of cop-like in a way. Um, he is a cop,
Cops are
and
good.
they can be. So yeah, they he releases him and he says, "We'll be watching you." So yeah, but of course he leaves the police station again. Again, the same ritual is playing out.
This reminds me of a guy we've talked about before.
Trailer
This is
Park Boys keeps getting out of jail at the beginning of every
so
season.
funny. I was gonna say like I don't know like Henry Lee Lucas. No, he didn't get out, but I don't know like who Charles Manson maybe.
Well, he got out a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, they could. Well, funny enough, spent most of his life incarcerated, but
Well, yeah,
he,
that's true.
but hey, he came,
Notably released from jail many times.
and when he got out, he showed out. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
All right,
Um, so he gets out though, and immediately he's approached by Felix's twin sister slash wife. Oh, they have a kid together too, by the way.
what hard,
I
what, hard.
apparently the
And
kid is not like that fucked up genetically though.
the worst thing that happened to him was he got paralyzed from falling out of a tree or something.
How
What the
would
hell
that
was it?
even? How the fuck could you two twins have a baby? That's like don't aren't they genetically identical?
Yeah, I would think that it wouldn't really pan out. Uh,
So
but
that's never explained.
it's the future. Well, it's the future.
It's not. It's 1988.
It's the future.
It's the alternate past.
Yeah, where,
But anyway,
AIDS
so
hasn't been
Alice
brought up.
Alice interestingly knows who Taverner is and pulls out two records of his to go, "Hey, look, I collect your records."
So
And she then goes on to offer him a hit of mescaline, and he's freaking out, man.
well, you gotta be
Because she goes, "This
polite.
is a pussy's dose. You'll be fine. Just a few colors or whatever." And he takes it, and he's like, "Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?"
Oh man, I
It's
got
like when remember in that episode of SpongeBob where he can't drink water. He's at Sandy's house. Yeah, and he
yeah,
looks
dude.
like he's dying.
I
That's
c-
what he
yeah,
looks like on mescaline.
I could imagine. Yeah, being made so. Oh, by the way, this mescaline's made in Switzerland.
Well,
Swiss
yeah, that's like
mescaline.
that would like that's like part of the who the hell
He
knows, man.
he
Yeah, I mean it's
knows.
clearly LSD reference.
Yeah, he definitely knew. Yeah. So the mescaline's got him zonked, zooted,
Zooted,
uh,
I think is the technical term.
absolutely bamboozled.
And so she goes, "All right, I'll give you a Thorazine. I'll be right back." And she goes into the bathroom. And he at that point goes, "I gotta get the fuck out of here." She walked away. Time for me
You're
to
just gonna give me
escape with her
Thorazine.
car, with her quibble, I mean, and take
You're
these
just gonna give
records
me
to
lobster
someone.
claws. Is that
And
what
he
happens when you
can't.
take Thorazine?
What's
Don't you
that?
get? That's what happens when you take Thorazine. You get lobster claws. Isn't that right? No, am I
Meaning it
think
like makes your hands go like this.
I might be thinking of the wrong drug that preg
Diazepam, maybe.
that might have something that those poor women and children. Either way, uh,
Oh no, you're
no.
thinking of fucking no. You're thinking of the morning pill, the morning sickness drug.
Oh, is that right? It was a morning sickness drug that women
Hang
were
on, what's the
taking.
hang on,
What gave
morning
all those poor kids lobster claws? Google, go. It should know. That question's been put to it a whole lot less gracefully in the
It
past, I'm sure.
is called thalidomide, bro.
Hey, how you doing? There
I
you
can't
go.
believe you. I knew what it was. I just forgot
Thorazine.
the name of it was. But no, that's not what it is. Thorazine is like a sedative that like snipers take, so their hands don't shake as much while they're trying to shoot people.
Sick. Okay. So I
And I
should
know
take
that from fucking from Metal Gear Solid. Thank you very much.
very nice. Very cool.
Um,
Is that worth an analysis in the same vein as say Final
I mean, it
Fantasy?
would take me months to get ready for, but yeah.
You've been preparing your whole life, my friend. Don't be bashful. Don't play
I'm
coy.
willing to do a Metal Gear Solid episode like we did the semi recently did the Final Fantasy X episode, which did take me months to prepare for, mind you.
I fair. Uh, I've never, and the same thing for me. I've never played Metal Gear Solid.
It's kind of difficult to play in today's society, or to today's, not today's society, in today's gaming market because it hasn't been really
Said society.
reissued in a way that's playable. The best way to play it, in my opinion, is like the GameCube remake of it.
No shit.
Yeah, and I have
Really,
it, and you can play it on a Wii or a GameCube. I have both. But yeah, I'm not lending it to you though.
buddy. Listen, that's okay. I have other. I'm juggling enough with these lobster claws as is. All right,
Yeah.
but
Also, it's like more like watching a movie. Well, it's not more like watching. It's like 50% watching a movie versus 50% playing a game.
I think I played it when I was a kid on what might have been PS3 or
Well,
2.
that wouldn't have been the first one.
No, no. Either way, I got hung up on like the first. It looked like some Middle Eastern town, and there's a robot.
That's the fourth one.
Yeah, that's what I was playing whenever that came out, and
Yeah, that one's all right.
I couldn't do anything with it, so gave up.
Anyway,
Mhm.
so he's fucked up on mescaline, and then he tries to leave, and then he goes, "Well, fuck, I'll go find her and see if I can get the car." Oh no, tries to put the record, play the records, which are blank.
Yeah.
So he has the record that has his name on it, and it's blank.
Why?
Well, it's because reality's been warped, is the answer. But so then he goes, well, let me go find her and see if like maybe the spindle's broken. There's a rational explanation for this, or maybe it's just a mescaline. And he walks into the bathroom and he sees that she's a 300-year-old weathered skeleton on the floor. And he freaks out, of course,
I'm freaking
leaves,
out.
and there's a private cop there who runs in after him and goes, "Holy shit, there's a dead person in here," and tries to blow him away.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And he runs into the next neighborhood and gets to safety, of course. But I also want to point out here is that so when Buckman and the police finally arrive there, um, they never close the loop as to whether it's actually a skeleton or not. Like that's never explained whether he actually just hallucinated a skeleton or whether he was or whether that was he viewed it was like there's a metaphysical truth going on, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, baby. Yes, I do. Yeah, I jive with that. Um,
Or whether she really was a skeleton, which is also possible. However, I'm led to not think that because later on, when the police come, they go, "We tested her. She died of an overdose. How could you test just a skeleton?" So, but I love that it's never clarified. It's just such a fucking amazing, swooshy,
mhm.
psychedelic detail that this book has going on for it. I love it, man. I fucking love this book so much.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm glad that we did this one because it's not one that I probably would have ever expected to be it's very noirish, of course, like a lot
A
of
lot of
his.
his are.
Yeah, but this
I think
really,
I'm out of books of his that I've read now.
so it's all new territory from here.
Yeah, I've read a couple of short stories too, but I think
Mm.
all of his novels would be new to me now at this point.
I gotta put some mind bending fiction to you, if you want to keep on this trend that
Yeah,
we're
I'm
on.
down. I'm down to
Hell
do
yeah.
that stuff.
All right. Now, uh the skeleton reveal is fantastic. It's so
It's
good.
amazing because
Oh,
again, I think it is to me. It's the metaphysical truth that he witnessed, not the that she actually turned into a skeleton, nor that he was hallucinating on mescaline.
yeah. It's that taking mescaline helps you see the uh uh
The
the
doors of
unreal
perception,
the
man.
unreal truth of things where what you see is not real,
Well,
but
let's
it may be
let's
true.
spoiler big spoiler. We're gonna go into the real end spoilers here now, and we're
Hard
doing pretty good on
R
time. I'm happy with
spoilers.
how long we've spent on all this stuff because I want to say by the way we've touched on a lot of different aspects of this book.
Mm.
We've barely scratched the surface as to
Oh
all
yeah.
the rich, juicy details that you can get out of this fucking novel. And it's a tight 231 pages.
Hmm. Yeah, no, this breezes by.
It's a
And
fucking 1 day read, easy. It's a fucking take a shit and then end sitting on the couch and finish reading it.
jeez, feel free to wipe. Yeah. If
It
you're
goes
out of
without
toilet
being
paper,
said.
you might just end up sitting there the whole time.
And
But
then get a nice the
don't
icy
say it.
cold frozen legs.
Oh, jeez.
No,
Oh
I mean
God.
like when you sit in the toilet for a long time, your legs fall asleep.
I thought you were gonna drop the H bomb. I thought you were gonna talk about the little miniature H bomb in all of us.
Oh, no, that's gross. I don't want to talk
Yeah,
about that. Anyone who's experienced it doesn't want to remember it or make jokes about it.
fair enough. It's like the other H bomb.
Yeah, the N word, nuclear. Yeah,
It's like
so
that
anyway,
other H bomb, that other big H word, you know.
yeah. So he escapes, by the way, we forgot to mention too, is that he escapes and hangs out with this fat chick for a while. And she's a potter. But interestingly, while he's with her, reality shifts back into normalcy, and like the teenagers at the diner recognize him. Oh yeah, his music is back in the jukebox,
Hmm.
um and et cetera, et cetera. But there's also, I think this is a fun little aside that he does here where this character, Marianne Dominic, the Potter, she is like afraid of her own shadow, kind of, and she's like not has no confidence, and she's like has all this self doubt, and even though she makes money selling pottery, she's like I don't know if I'm any good, and she's intimidated by the fact that he's a successful musician and stuff. And he says actually his kindest moment is this in the whole novel, where he explains to her, listen, there's gonna be people who tell you all kinds of different things in the world, but just do it anyway.
Okay, coach.
And at the end of the book, during the epilogue, by the way, the last line of the novel is talking about how her work, specifically the pot that he ends up buying for her for Heather Hart, by the way, is like a
Hmm.
cherished piece of art history or whatever. So that is resolved. That last
Hmm.
part of her, whether Marianne Dominic was a good potter, is the only thing that is for certain.
Well, the
But the question is, was it because it's associated with him that he had bought it from her and whatnot? It also is pretty nebulous. I like that
yeah,
it's mired in all of the shifting unrealities that are inherent to postmodern society, man.
it remains there to this day, and it is much treasured, and in fact, by a number of people who know ceramics openly and genuinely cherished and loved. Which that's probably why this book didn't end with the same hollow, empty pit in my stomach that a lot of them can give you, is that it did take the time to focus on people who, by no fault of their own, are entangled in this, this horror, but they make their way out of it and create things that are metaphysically good.
Yeah,
Also, I like to picture this lady as the driving student, the school student in Naked Gun.
I don't remember
When
that reference.
the Naked Gun, when Frank Drebin steal, like he's
I'm
chasing a
going to tell you right
criminal.
now, I won't remember a detail like that from this.
He's
For
chasing a
that.
criminal, so he commandeers a driving school car, and
Okay,
it's
I'm not
just
going to
like this.
remember her.
It's so funny. Oh my God. But yeah, it ends on double back. Let's talk about military grade psychic death
Okay, so
weapons.
here's the big spoiler. The fact so this is all dispassionately being explained to Felix, who's having a mental breakdown essentially, over mourning his sister wife. And it's revealed that she had taken a experimental reality warping drug called KR3, which, by the way, had been being tested on prisoners at the
San
fucking
Bernard,
forced
yeah.
labor camp.
Well, hey, you get a bag of chips if you just take this shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a pill or something, or maybe or a droplet. Maybe it's probably supposed to be like LSD, obviously.
Mm.
Anyway,
Um,
but the point is the way it works is it's so fucking abstract.
I love it.
So,
Uh,
can you explain? Can you try to explain it? I
no.
kind of understand. I was gonna say. So
Oh
basically,
man.
he
Yeah.
talks about how matter,
Mm.
we think of it as something that's a fixed thing,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
That's how, but so he states, and this is, by the way, borne out by crackpot, Schrodinger type,
Yeah.
what do you call it? Quantum mechanic theorists, is the idea that, the only reason matter exists is because we're all vibing at the same time, essentially, and agreeing mentally in some sort of field with each
Mm.
other that each take like if you and I are in a room with a table, there's something unseen going on between our brains that is actually putting the table there. It's our brains that are sort of creating the reality. Is that basically,
Hmm.
is that, are you with me so far?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Um, I
Um,
don't know that I agree with this, by the way, but this is what's happening in the novel.
yeah, no, I don't.
Uh,
We really will save the the dalliance into this territory for
Uh,
exegesis, I think.
Fine,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
But
Anyway, but the
this,
point is,
carry
so
on,
is
Nolan.
that he's saying that this drug KR3, it interferes with that. So the person who the drug takes the person who takes the drug, their mental perception shapes reality itself, and it makes every person in reality go along on their trip with them, essentially. Include so in her trip, in Alice's trip, who's the now skeleton person, maybe, um, she had been listening to Jason Taverner albums at her house, and for whatever reason got it in her head that he didn't exist anymore. And so this actually warped reality itself and made him, conscious as he is, because he's still matter. So he's actually transported into another world where he
Mhm.
doesn't exist, along with everyone else. And she's the only person besides him who is consciousness of that other world existing. And
As
the drug,
if,
yeah,
sorry, as if the only uh, uh, matter that is set apart is matter that is imbued or animated with consciousness.
right.
So that thus we, the royal we, can transcend these different platforms or planes or the what different different realities while still being constant, while the reality around us totally changes,
Dissolves.
and we are, it's up to us to play along or
Cope with that
not.
and whatever.
Yeah.
So the drug lasts 2 days, and at the end, the toxic nature of it ended up killing her. It was a maybe not overdose, but it had toxicity in it, and she perished from it.
Well, this is the beautiful nuanced tightrope walk that this explanation gives, is that uh, the way that he phrases it, what was it, that her brain experienced like 200 years or whatever of input.
Entropy is I think is the
Sure.
word all at
Okay,
once.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, and I don't know, like I'm washing my hands thinking about this after I read it like 30 minutes earlier, and I'm
Sure.
like, and I thought about, my dad was talking to me about telomeres recently. You
What's
familiar
that?
with this? Basically these scintilla type thread-like connections inside of our cells that seem to have potentially a correlative relationship with our lifespan. So the longer they
Okay.
are, the longer you will live.
Sure.
And
Like a fuse.
sure, yeah. And now he's buying strange roots on the internet, and we're looking into.
Extending his telomeres. That's pretty funny.
My dad always did joke they could live to be 150, and
Well, I hope he finds the right herb combination.
I'll put 10 down on that every day of the week. Long live the
Um,
king. So, but yeah, the way that the coroner phrases it, where her brain experienced this, it was tricked into believing that time was passing, and so I guess the brain literally kicks in the whole, death
it hits
cycle.
all at once. Yeah.
Like literally, you just disintegrate, you spontaneously, not combust, but spontaneously
Entropize.
age and
Yeah.
uh, what's the word? Putrefy and the yeah,
I guess. I don't know, but there was no goo. In fact, all of her
yeah. Well,
clothes were
eventually
just
that
on the
would.
skeleton, if I'm not mistaken. So again, I think to my interpretation, it's more that he witnessed the metaphysical reality of her having been aged like
Hmm.
that. And in
Yeah.
reality is probably just a dead body there.
Well, can you imagine how many stories that PKD, hanging out with the kind of people he did, popping the kind of perks he did, the amount of people that he would hear tell him, "I don't want to. Let's leave. I don't like this guy. he's got a bad aura, you
Yeah. Oh
know?
yeah.
Like, and I'll tell you, man, from speaking from uh, some experience somehow, uh, there are there are drugs that will, like LSD, that will really warp people's uh visages, their what do you call it? Their countenance in a way that is
Okay.
devilish, terrifying, really, really upsetting. And if you are
I want to. I'll repartee with that a little bit because I would say that that is, if I was going to take a more materialistic view, which I do tend to with drugs. By the way, I'm not a PKD in that respect so much. Um, would be that your perception is being altered by the drug, and when you're in a confused state like that, there's a tendency to project
oh
bad
yeah.
stuff onto other people
Oh yeah.
because of the confused state you're in, A, and B, some sort of weird like mirroring thing with you. Maybe you're
Yeah.
worried and
The
therefore,
look
yeah.
on my face, I mean, the look on somebody's face when they're in the price right trying to buy potatoes, yellow russet potatoes, but they took 2 tabs of acid.
Yellow russet potatoes are not yellow. This dude
Some
doesn't eat food.
No, I mean, I didn't know if it was yellow or russet. Who knows? Scott,
Okay.
I don't know what's happening. All right. All I knew is dead sober. You're standing in line at the price right, and a guy turns around, gives you like a look. You could, depending on your mood, you could transform that into a million different possible,
Yeah, I'm sure, of
things. So,
course.
um, I
Sober.
don't quite buy into I like yourself, I don't literally buy into government drugs giving you psychic intuitions by any means. However, I'd like to talk to you about uh have you heard about this shit, Kalinki photography or something?
Nope.
It's this shit that was engineered in the Soviet Union. No, no. I gotta
I
find
think
it,
I
bro.
have heard a little bit of this. Let's do a bonus episode on it soon.
Yeah, it's very, very wacky stuff. Um, so
Spoiler or teaser. We'll be talking about
ooh,
that in the future on the substack.com/history or historyhomos.pod@substack.com.
so
Anyway,
many teasers.
let's wrap up here though.
Barbecue.
We're not wrap up, but okay. But the point is that she's dead, and at this point, the
I like
police.
rapping with you. It's so funny. Some of the remember, do you remember that line? That stuck with
Yeah,
me, bitch. I like rapping with you. Oh my
you never
God.
heard that expression before?
Oh, yes, I have, brother. Like from Red Fox,
Yeah,
from Denzel in the Malcolm X biography,
right. That's true.
maybe. Either way.
Anyway, so Felix at this point has gone home and he's experiencing a mental breakdown essentially, and his first in command, Herb Bame or something.
Hmm. Uh,
He black and Middle Eastern, black Asian Middle Eastern. He says like, listen, this is a problem kind of for us, so we have to deal with this because you're not liked within the police superstructure, and your enemies within the police are now going to probably expose your sister for being your wife and
hmm,
say that the overdose wasn't just accidental, it was a suicide attempt over the shame of being in a incestuous relationship or whatever. It's going to ruin your career. So what we should do is we should preemptively um, find a scapegoat essentially
hmm,
with which to imply that she was murdered on behalf of those very same people that are going to attack us.
hmm,
So again, reality is now being shaped by now, and this time it's dirty trickery
hmm.
that's going on, that it's shaping
Dirty Tricks
reality
Division.
itself. In fact, they go to such lengths as they backdate the autopsy. So again,
Yes.
official government action actually shapes reality itself. So now everyone who's perceiving the story from outside of it, except the people who are actually there, i.e., Jason Taverner, will now believe the government story that that it had been a day earlier, and also that there was all this other bad stuff. Um, and but by the way, they choose Taverner basically because very rapidly Felix is going through the stages of guilt or stages of
Yeah.
grief rather, and it happens to
And
catch him during the anger period. And he says, "Well, fuck Jason Taverner, fucking asshole." Because, by the way,
hate
also in
his
this, oh, I
songs.
know why too. By the way, is because he feels like the whole thing he's been duped this entire time. He's been duped because at the moment that he's sort of contemplating this, his secretary comes in and goes, "Hey, by the way, we found the Jason Taverner file. He's real."
Yeah, well, that was a great bit about how uh it was counterfeit though. Yeah, but it was counterfeited from a Xerox, so it had to exist.
Yeah, or
This
is all
record,
true information that he was counterfeiting.
exactly.
Right.
And what was that bit? Oh, the most wrathful section of the whole book was the your crime was ever being.
I have that. I sent you the. I want to read
Oh,
that. I want to read that.
please, yeah.
So this is like the best part of the whole book right here. So this is him, and he's in his car, and he's left. So Taverner's being booked at the police, and again, Felix is going through like this breakdown essentially over the fact that he's grieving somebody who he thought he hated but clearly loved. Um, and also he's sort of contemplating his entire role in this because he's been telling himself this whole time that he creates his role in this is like to be the pillar of society essentially, and he's going through this crisis of consciousness or whatever. And this is him actually addressing to himself why did he choose Taverner as the scapegoat. But okay, so I'll this is a direct reading of chapter 27, a piece of
A
chapter
reading
27.
from the book of Philip.
Yeah,
Aren't you glad I didn't say
the other one.
Richard? All right.
Uh, why did I pick Taverner? He asked himself. Out of a planet of 6 billion people, yeah, there's less. Maybe there was. Because
No,
they might
those
have been.
are
That's probably
it's
more
on
than
par.
how many. Hang on, let's see how many people there were in the world in 1974. How many people on Earth 1974?
Shake of the bag. I'm going for 1100.
Oh no, 4 billion. 4 billion. So he
Ooh.
did predict more people in this.
Oh,
Not too
yeah.
many, a reasonable amount of more people. Oh, but also there's the Earth, there's a Mars and fucking
Yeah.
moon colony too.
Yeah.
So there's probably a lot of people. Anyway, we didn't even mention there's space travel in the book. How
S-
fucking
Space trucking, baby. Come on,
yeah,
man.
keep on trucking.
Keep on
Why
space
did I
trucking.
pick Taverner? He asked himself. Out of a planet of 6 billion people, this one specific man who never harmed anyone, never did anything except let his file come to the attention of the authorities. That's it right there, he realized. Jason Taverner let himself come to our attention, and as they say, once come to the authorities' attention, never completely forgotten. But I can unpick him, he thought, as Herb pointed out. No. Again, it had to be no. The die was cast from the beginning. Again, he's referencing Caesar. Before any of us had even laid hands on it. Taverner, he thought, you were doomed from the start, from your first act upward. We play roles, Buckman thought. We occupy positions, some small, some large, some ordinary, some strange, some outlandish and bizarre, some visible, some dim or not visible at all. Jason Taverner's role was large and visible at the end, and it was at the end that the decision had to be made. If he could have stayed as he had started out, one small man without proper ID cards, living in a ratty, broken down slum hotel, if he could have remained that he might have gotten away, or at very worst, wound up at a forced labor camp. But Taverner did not elect to do that. Some irrational will within him made him want to appear, to be visible, to be known. We know that's his desire to be a celebrity, by the way.
Hmm.
All right, Jason Taverner. Buckman thought. All right, Jason Taverner. Buckman thought you are known again as you once were before, but better known now. Known in a new way, in a way that serves higher ends. Ends you know nothing about, but must accept without understanding. As you go to your grave, your mouth will still be open, asking the question, "What did I do?" You'll be buried that way, with your mouth still open. And I could never explain it to you, Buckman thought, except to say, don't come to the attention of the authorities. Don't ever interest us. Don't make us want to know more about you. Someday your story, the ritual and shape of your downfall, may be made public. At a remote future time when it no longer matters. When there are no more forced labor camps and no more campuses surrounded by rings of police carrying rapid fire submachine guns and wearing gas masks to make them look like some great snouted, huge eyed root eaters. Some kind of noxious lower animal. Someday there may be a post-mortem inquiry, and it will be learned that you in fact did no harm, did nothing actually, but became noticed. The real, ultimate truth is that despite your fame and your great public following, you are expendable, he thought, and I am not. That is the difference between the two of us. Therefore, you must go, and I remain. This is his coping mechanism with the fact that he's coping with the fact that he willingly scapegoated Taverner to save his own job, essentially.
And his own ego.
And his ego, yeah. And the embarrassment that his sister is his wife.
How'd that happen? By
I know.
accident? A clerical error, was it?
Well, obviously molestation.
Oh. They have that in 1988.
Well, he's in his late 30s, if I'm not mistaken. 39, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And it takes place in 88, so she would have been the 50s that would have happened.
sounds about right. Well, uh, that yeah, that put the bad taste in my mouth again. For the book ends on a much more chipper note than
Yeah,
that. Not much, yeah, much more, but
not much different.
that is unfortunately the most dire thing that you could pull from this. Really
So
is
you sort of put this idea in my head earlier in the episode, but the idea that all this was constructed to scapegoat Taverner, right?
it would take
It's
a
a
third.
little bit far-fetched.
Yeah, I would have to do a third reading to. It came to me during the second, and then I was like, all right, I can't really
I like the idea
hang
because
my hat on it.
it's in keeping with the whole nothing is real. How many layers do we have to go to see the real core of it?
Yeah,
But I just like the ambiguous nature. I mean, I think it's fun to play with around in your mind as an ambiguous thought
exactly,
experiment at any rate, because that is the spirit of the book.
exactly. Yeah,
But yeah,
great.
also, so he also has like basically a breakdown after this little monologue he does with himself. And he drives to a gas station and hugs a random black guy because it's the first human being that he sees.
Passes him a love note.
He passes him a piece of paper with
Heart.
a heart with an arrow sticking out of it.
And the guy doesn't know what to do with it. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Um,
but he lets him hug him.
hey, go out, hug your local black guy.
He could tell though that he was hurting. So
Yeah,
yeah, and again, but I will say this is that it interestingly mirrors the
okay.
end. It mirrors the end of other books by Dick. That the protagonist kind of goes through this. How many things are you gonna reach for? What are you reaching for?
I'm trying to keep the cat from climbing on things he shouldn't.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I
trying
was
to
gonna
keep the
say
cat.
he looks like For those not watching, I guess you probably aren't seeing him right now. But what I'm seeing on my end is he looks like he's reaching for a cup every 3 seconds and then not taking the cup. It's extremely distracting.
I'm so sorry. Are you hearing this guy? Listen to him.
I can't hear it, unfortunately.
You didn't hear
I
that?
imagine it sounds like a motor
The
engine,
mic
though.
was right up in his face. Alphonse, tell him what the word is. Tell him the good word. Go ahead.
He's not saying a
No
thing.
thoughts? Yeah. Oh, now he turns away. Now he turns away
Ow!
and starts picking at his nails. Yeah, you need to cut him, right? But you won't let us. Pain in the ass.
Yeah.
We got.
Anyway, though, so
I gotta take him to go get his nails done.
he
You gonna look very pretty, honey.
where was I fucking saying before the cat cup?
I,
Before the
I,
cat cup
I didn't say a
interruption.
thing, all right? I was trying to do my best to not interrupt the show with a million cigar boxes falling and killing me.
Mm. Well, that's
They're all
remediable for the record.
they're giving
Them
these things
not
away.
being there.
I mean, I don't know how they got here, Scott. I must have taken some drug.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so I was gonna say, in the epilogue though. Yeah. So but it mirrors though, like that at the end. Particularly, I'm thinking of the end of Android's Dream of Electric Sheep,
Yeah.
where the protagonist we have Decker. He is basically has a similar breakdown and like mental sort of collapse essentially by himself in the wilderness. He doesn't have a black man to hug, of course, but that sort of mirrors and it's an interesting little subversion of the Philip K. Dick traditional ending, I guess, is that you actually follow the antagonist through his decline, essentially. And then you're thrust into the epilogue where it's explained that um, Taverner was charged with the murder, but beat the case because he's super duper rich celeb. By the way, back
Yep.
to the reality shit warping nature of celebrity,
Yes. Back to the reality we all know and love and can wrap our heads around, you know.
almost
Uh,
presaging OJ in a way.
hmm.
Well, he didn't kill her, I know, but who knows, man, what happened?
I did it. I'm
You
sorry.
weren't
That's
alive
not
in
true.
1988, nor was I.
It's so true. Yeah. I'd like to provide an alibi. How do I provide an
It's pretty
alibi
solid.
yeah.
Um,
No, none of my
I don't know. Is there anything
documents
else you
can
want
be
to get to?
found.
Any other key deet you want to touch on?
The biggest thing was the XR drug testing thing and the fact that um K Dick is K Dick Philip Philip is aware.
I wish it was K-Dick. Yeah, it'd be a little less difficult to discuss him.
Um, Philip seems to he knows where mescaline comes from. I have a feeling. I wonder if that. Are you familiar with John Allegro, Doctor John Allegro? He was
No.
the guy that was getting CIA money to go run around in,
Yeah, I do know this guy. Yes, I do.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mexico, and he's the guy behind the sacred mushroom and the cross, and he was also one of the archaeologists at the site of the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Hmm. He was the
Um,
only non-clergy member, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe, yeah, no, yeah, Royal Navy though. So, hey,
Interesting. Navy, huh? Navy intelligence.
I mean,
Ow.
someone's got to be intelligent around here. Alphonse, come tell everybody where they can find the history homos.
Well, I'll
Um,
tell them in the
oh,
meantime. You can get them on camera though. That'd be good. Yeah, so www. So thank you for listening again. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. And I hope that if you didn't read the book prior to this discussion, this has made you go read it now. Although I'm sorry for what you missed.
and it's still worth the read
Oh
because
yeah.
in order to, uh, unless you just, want to know what it's about, and if it doesn't really sound like your speed, sure, fair enough. But if you have any taste for mystery,
Science fiction,
yeah, noir, or any kind of reality,
psychedelic stuff. You like fucking what's his name there? What's his
Gibson.
spook?
Oh, not William Gibson. He's all
Well,
right.
William, I think it's not dissimilar to William Gibson either, for the
Mm,
record. But
mhm.
I was gonna say, what's his spook there? Thompson,
Oh, oh,
Hunter S.
Hunter S. Uh, that's something else that's a whole other
I've
can
read
of
a bunch
worms.
of his books too, but
Same,
I
yeah.
notice I haven't suggested we read any of them.
Me either. Isn't that? But
I didn't
frankly,
dislike them either. I just don't find them to be particularly discussable.
I think more the life of the man and the
Yeah, he's
potential.
into some weird stuff, man. Anyway, though,
That thing about
he's the
uh,
man who brought adrenochrome into the public consciousness, for the record. Like,
it's football season, Scott.
yeah, I know it's a tradition. Um, so yeah, anyway, so I hope you will read this book if you haven't, and if you did already, I hope this episode was a good companion piece to it. And
And
I'm just glad to share my enthusiasm for it with you. Which again, I talk about a few episodes back. We did that episode, not you and I, Patrick, but we did that episode discussing James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, and how like his content has declined and occasionally I mentioned in the episode too is that occasionally there'll be a good one. And the key element of a good episode is passion.
hmm,
So we're going to continue to be bringing to you topics that we're passionate about. Therefore, we will be good content, we hope. So for
absolutely.
more of that, www.historyhomos.com for the RSS feed. We're also available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, and most importantly, www.historyhomospod.substack.com. Perfectly cromulent place to get the podcast / video version of the show. But also, if you want more of the show, there's 100% more of the show there by subscribing to our Substack page. There's a bonus episode every Thursday. And this past week, I did an hour just on my Jack Johnson. I did a 1 hour of history, facts, and anecdotes about rabbits. So enjoy that episode, and again, moving forward, we're gonna continue until at least July, until my vacation in July. We're gonna have all new content as usual, and yeah, thanks for supporting us, and thanks for supporting me through the last week where I took a week off for the first time in 5 years. Um,
Well
and
deserved.
yeah, so other than that, follow us across social media at History Homos Pod. That's Twitter and Instagram. If you want to talk to us, and at time of recording, still the friendliest place on the internet, t.me/History Homos is the channel. T.me/History Homos chat is the chat. That is the Telegram group. Should have put that up front. My bad. But regardless, if any questions, comments, or concerns, or you'd like to buy one of the dwindling supply of t-shirts, no larges left, hit me up at historyhomos@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Die with dignity. Patrick, what do you want to sign off with?
Uh, this
Right there,
episode,
man.
uh, this episode did not take place.
I was going to say, how now, brown cow? Later, homos.
Flow my tears. Flow my tears. I saw my face dissolve in neon rain, a perfect life erased without a trace. Telephone silence, mirrored halls. No one remembers me at all. Black leather shadows in the station light. Identity fading every night. I was somebody yesterday. Now the screen has turned away. Flow my tears in electric blue. No one knows me, not even you. Lost in the wires, lost in the glow. Where did the vanished people go? Flow my tears beneath the glass, watching all my futures pass. Police state angels with exhausted eyes, cataloging dreams and alibis. Every checkpoint, every Nothing's ever what it seems. 7 years dissolved overnight. Fame evaporates in fluorescent lights. The city breathes in coded dreams. Reality splitting at the seams. Mirror eyes, plastic skies, government lullabies, velvet lies, empty fame, no true name. Everything becomes the same. A woman dances through the static haze like memory caught in violet flame. She says you're more than what they filed and disappears before a smile. I chase the ghost through endless halls, hearing my forgotten call.